After former Secretary Lori Chavez DeRemer resigned during an inspector general probe, Democrats also pressing for more information on her spending. Rivers still rising in Texas as a flood emergency continues after more heavy rain. Dozens rescued. This region still recovering from deadly flooding last summer. America is listening to Fox News.
Now, your official weather forecast.
This afternoon, expect a mix of clouds and sunshine with the possibility of a thunderstorm in some areas, making it a hot day. Smoke from wildfires will cause very low air quality and reduced visibility. The temperature will reach a high of 91 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Sean Fest returns on August 28th at the Westin Chicago Northwest in Itasca. Be a part of a live, on-location broadcast of The Sean Thompson Show, including a performance of the national anthem, followed by live music, food, drinks, and an opportunity to meet Sean Thompson. Registration is free. Go to 560theanswer.com/SeanFest. That's 560theanswer.com/SHAUN Fest. Sponsored in part by LeavingIL.com and by Unique Wooden Flags.
We wouldn't be celebrating America 250 if it wasn't for a strong foundation set by the framers. Hamilton built America's financial foundation on sound money, later embodied by the gold standard. But we abandoned that discipline in 1971 and have seen inflation erode the dollar's value. What's the foundation of your saving? Is it gold or something that can be devalued? Hi, it's Dr. Ron Paul, and I encourage you to speak with my friends at Birch Gold Group about diversifying an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold. Learn more by requesting a free info kit on gold IRAs. Just text the word SHELTER to the number 989898. Let Birch Gold help you build your foundation with gold. Text the word SHELTER to the number 989898. Text SHELTER to 989898.
I'm excited about it. You know, these cutting edge things that are new in medicine now, I'm all in on it. I'm all in on QC Kinetics. It works.
Henry Hinton decided to check out QC Kinetics regenerative treatments for his aching knees after seeing a close friend have amazing results without going under the knife.
I have a friend that started this, which is one of the reasons that I decided to do it. He could not play golf anymore, and he went to QC Kinetics and started having the treatments, and he's back golfing like 3 days a week. He couldn't play at all.
QC Kinetics gets you back to doing what you love, using your own natural biologics to help heal and restore damaged joints. Long-term relief that puts a guy back on the golf course.
You know, I've had one treatment so far, and I can already tell a difference. QC Kinetics works. I'm excited about it.
You're next. Start with a call to QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics, 312-827-6261. That's 312-827-6261. 312-827-6261.
Foundations of Freedom, a look at America's founding principles and the leaders who shaped our nation.
Most Americans think of Abraham Lincoln and they think of the Civil War or the Emancipation. But in 1862, he signed another hugely significant piece of legislation, the Homestead Act. It offered eligible Americans up to 160 acres of land, not as a prize for the powerful, but as an opportunity for ordinary families willing to live on it, work it, and build something lasting. Why did it matter? Because Lincoln understood that freedom was not merely the absence of tyranny. Rather, freedom required responsibility, labor, stewardship, and moral courage. A free people must be given room to build, but they also must be willing to cultivate what they have been given. That still matters today. Liberty without responsibility decays. Opportunity without character collapses. Lincoln's lesson is clear. A nation stays free when its people remain willing to work, build, and steward freedom under God.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Goldilocks, offering smart security systems to homes and businesses. Call Goldilocks at 708-889-5600.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
The following live program is sponsored by Breakthrough Ideas.
AM 560, The Answer. It's time for breaking news, expert insight, and informed commentary on what's happening in Springfield, Chicago, and beyond. Because an informed citizenry is the only way to protect our republic. It's time for The Real Story with Jeanne Ives and Amy Jacobson.
We brought this story to you on Wednesday with Edgar County Watchdogs, but we're reviewing it again today because it's so important for people to understand what's going on here. The village of Kansas has muddy waters and raw sewage in the drains. That's what Kirk Allen and John Kraft wrote in their Illinois Leaks article. The village of Kansas had its village meeting last week, and once again, the issue of Kansas water continued. One thing that jumped out at us was how, once again, the board took action that was not listed on the agenda. Kirk is looking into that. I talked to him this morning. When I raised concerns about it, I was told it was part of paying bills, which was not listed on the agenda. Well, I watched that hearing because I was very concerned after finding out that literally raw sewage that is tested positive for E. coli was backing up into people's eyes. And I wanted to see for myself, because Kirk mentioned how dismissive the board was towards a member of the community who approached them and said something needs to happen here.
And we've seen the pictures of the water. We've put them on social media. It looks like muddy water. It's disgusting. And I don't know who in their right mind would even think for 1 second that that's acceptable to bathe in or let alone drink. And this is Kansas, Illinois, by the way.
Yep. And this is Vicki Buttram, who approached her city council in a very respectful manner. Here's what she had to say, the opening remarks.
Good evening, members of the board. Thank you for your time. I'm standing here tonight because our township is facing a compounding infrastructure and public health crisis that requires immediate intervention. To put it plainly, our municipal drainage system is failing. It's failing us as a community, completely and wholly. It's causing local residential septic systems to overflow. We now have laboratory-confirmed E. coli in our community. This is not just from a dog taking a poo or those stray animals. This is human waste-bound E. coli. This is a direct chain reaction caused by failure in our public infrastructure because our primary arterial ditches and our culverts are severely clogged and neglected. Stormwater has nowhere to go. We all agree to that, right? We all know that this is what is happening. It is a fact. These systems are being drowned by township stormwater, forcing raw, untreated sewage to back up in residents' basements, their crawl spaces, their rafters, and overflow into the surface environment. We have dead animals in our yards. We have people that cannot use their air. They cannot use their air systems in this heat. They are losing their structure of their home, and it's continuing on and on. We are creating a homelessness problem for the residents that actually live here.
So that voice belongs to Vicki Buttram, and she joins us right now. Vicki, thanks so much for coming on The Real Story to tell us more.
Good morning. Since that, I have contacted and reached out to what I found out was drainage districts. I did not know that we were a part of those. The residents, all residents within Kansas, whether it be township or village, are paying taxes for maintenance on these drainage systems. I have FOIA'd them, and I did that on the 14th. And by the evening of the 14th, I was arrested for having put dirt in a ditch to prevent it from creating more sewage in my only part of my yard, the part where I enter. And then I was cuffed and put behind a cop vehicle and brought 20 minutes out of town and booked, where they then just gave me a notice to appear that appeared blank with no case number, no incident number, and no charge.
Wait, Vicki, who arrested you? What agents? Was it Kansas City Police?
It was Kansas
Illinois Police?
Yes. Yes, it was. He said he was just doing what the village told him.
Well, did they have a warrant to enter your house, or did they pick you up outside of your house? How did it go down?
I was actually outside showing my daughters the flowers were actually blooming in the one area that water didn't continuously overflow. And I saw the utility vehicle and a cop vehicle pull up on the side of my property. So I stepped out of my yard to look. He asked me if I put dirt there and bricks. I said, no, not bricks. I did put the dirt there. He said that, well, you're being placed under arrest.
So they're arresting you for a criminal complaint, I'm told, not even a civil complaint, for simply putting a few bags of dirt over a culvert so that the sewage would be directed away from the back of your yard because they won't fix the problem. Am I getting that right?
Yes. But it was not blocking the flow. It's a place that fills up and then overflows into the yard. The flow actually drains down the back of my yard. This is only the front part of my backyard. My yard is almost an acre large. So I was just trying to prevent it from actually where we drive and step from raw sewage. I was trying to mitigate the problem.
Well, you said you were on a 20-minute ride or however to the police department. What did you have any conversations with them while they were taking you? Did you ask them, why did you pick me up? Why am I in handcuffs? Or did they let you go?
He said he had to do this. But just no. He actually put them on backwards, and he thought that he was loosening them when he was tightening them.
I mean, this is ridiculous. These people could not have been more dismissive of you. So even though they told you now it's a drainage district problem, they had their city because
no, they didn't tell me that.
Oh, you found that out yourself?
Do not even. Yes, I did. I went to my tax assessor's office and I looked it up and I did my due diligence. These residents had no idea that they even pay taxes to a drainage district. They have had no idea. They have been walking in circles. They've been making complaints, and nobody's taking responsibility. And now that I've put in the FOIA request for all information, minutes, meetings, budgets, surveys, infrastructure, and anything else that's been going on, any official complaints and so on, any text messages, emails, any conversations between these three commissioners, I am doing the best that I can to fight this fight, because I am new here and I do not accept it. And these people had no direction. They've been being led by the blind.
Well, how long have you lived in Kansas?
December 15th.
Okay, so a new resident.
7.5 months.
When you were being, again, and I'm sorry, we kind of cut you off there, but when you were being taken to the Kansas Police Department, did the arresting officer realize that this is goofy, that this might be wrong?
He just was kind of like, I'm sorry, I got to do this. I don't even know if he's like, just don't make this harder on me. Like you could tell his body language was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And
well, then how long were you in the clink like before you got out?
Yeah. It was about 20-minute drive. I was in cuffs standing there for probably about 10 minutes, the 20-minute drive. Then, I think I was there in booking for another 30 minutes or so. My daughters followed the police car. They were complete. I have a 21-year-old and an 18-year-old, and they were jaw dropped. They said, "You're arresting my mom for putting dirt on dirt."
They don't arrest teenagers. They don't arrest teenagers for teen takeovers. They don't arrest teenagers for vandalism. And they say this is a criminal because you put a couple bags of dirt on a culvert to redirect the sewage where it's supposed to go because you have raw sewage coming in your backyard. I mean, this is insane. You've told me that there's dead animals that show up in your yard. There
vultures. Was a litter of, I thought that it was squirrels, but it's actually rabbits. I have photos of those. There was a dead water snake the next day. And it's a water snake, so what killed it? Why were vultures not going after these dead rabbits in my yard? Why?
You need to set up a security camera.
I just ordered 8 of them, actually, because I do feel targeted, very much so. I'm trying to actually help the people, and they're not really hearing what I'm saying, but they will, because I haven't disclosed to everybody that we have a drainage district, because I want to get the proof in hand, and then we need to join as a coalition, as a community, is what my hope is. And I hope that they're insured, because people are homeless.
Yeah.
They have taken people's homes, condemned them, tore them down, and made them homeless because of the sewage and the rotting and the mold.
It's absolutely such a travesty. And then you told me the drainage district is not even a certified person, or what's going on, or the water person is not even certified, and you have to use somebody from another town.
Yes. So I don't recall his name. I know that he's brother-in-law to
of course,
the
all
woman
in the
that
family
works at the water. Yes. And he's been on for, as he said, 3 years. And I believe Ross Carroll was discussing with him that he needs to be on for 10 years to be truly certified. I haven't dug into that, but I don't believe that that's true. And another resident had asked why he's not certified then if he can classify himself as a C license certification. And it was just all talking in circles. Excuses, circles, no answers.
Yeah, so this has to do with your water. Now, do you drink your water in Kansas?
No.
Okay.
No.
Do you
I wouldn't
bathe in
feed
it?
To my dog.
Yeah.
Okay. I do have to shower in it. I don't have a different water supply.
But you have well water, correct?
No.
No? Where does your
No.
water supply come from?
It is city water.
It is city water. So what they do is the EPA tests it at the plant, but after it leaves the plant and goes through the pipes, it is no longer tested. At that meeting, one of my requests was to do further water sampling. They said that my water sampling was invalid due to it not being parts per million or billion. I can understand that. I did the best that I could in the time frame that I had before the meeting.
Okay. Vicki, I want to thank you so much for coming on today. We're going to stay on top of the story. We're going to make sure that people understand who's the priorities of this administration, this Pritzker administration, your state government, your local government. The priorities are all screwed up. And I completely put this on Governor Pritzker, quite frankly, because he's not paying attention to the things that really matter to people. And that's clean water, which, hey, I guess clean water should we put that in the Human Rights Act? That you have a right to clean water and not sewage in your backyard, because you have a right to everything else that like trans people going into the girls' bathroom, but you don't have a right to clean water. It's just, it's absolutely
I think everybody
disgusting.
should have their rights. We do have civil rights. We just celebrated 250 years of civil rights, and I appreciate mine. And I do think that I shouldn't be arrested, cuffed, and stuffed in a backseat of a squad car just because I spoke up and spoke out and then spoke against and requested unity, actually, and further water testing, which nobody responded. And obviously, I don't think that that's happening.
Okay, well, I've got a good positive story for people at the end of the show about what can happen when citizens get involved. And we're going to share that with everybody because we appreciate, Vicki, what you're doing. And hopefully we need a little bit more media attention on the water problem and the sewage problem down in Kansas, Illinois. And we're going to bring whatever we can.
Thank you.
All right.
I appreciate you, ladies. Thank you so much.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank
Coming
you.
up on The Real Story, can men get pregnant, Jeannie? We'll begin there with Dr. Carrie Mendoza.
Don't believe the official narrative? You've got the real story on AM 560, The Answer.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors, a third-generation family-owned business since 1969. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. For decades, we have been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows, a fifth-generation family business. Marvin replacement windows have been known to increase the warmth of your cold rooms by 10 degrees. Think about that, 10 degrees warmer. When you welcome Woodland into your home, you will get a product expert to transform your living spaces, full-time, dedicated professional installers that you can trust in your home, along with the best products like Marvin. These are the reasons we're proud of our 5-star reviews and family legacy. No gimmicks, no pressure, and upfront pricing are why Woodland Windows and Doors is your trusted window and door expert in Chicagoland. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your free in-home expert consultation. That's woodlandwindows.com, or stop by our showroom at the corner of Lake and Geary in Roselle.
If you owe the IRS $5,000 or more, you can try taking on the IRS alone, or you can get help. And choosing a tax resolution company that actually delivers can be tricky. Priority Tax Relief stands out with proven results, an A+ Better Business Bureau rating, and a strong 4.9-star Google rating because we fight for big savings. Our tax professionals will call the IRS with you for free. They will have you connected within minutes to put a hold on your account and start negotiating a settlement all before you pay a dime. We've helped thousands settle for pennies on the dollar. If you're facing wage garnishment, liens, levies, audits, or IRS letters, our team has a direct IRS relationship for faster resolutions. Whether you owe the IRS $5,000 or hundreds of thousands, we handle every case with care and urgency. Don't risk it on flashy promises. Call Priority Tax Relief now to see what savings you qualify for. Call 800-778-1795, 800-778-1795. That's 800-778-1795.
AM 560, The Answer.
Got a lot of text messages real quick. One from the Amish texter, Toto, I don't think we're in Kansas anymore. Another one from 773, this is Flint, Michigan 2.0. And then somebody else weighed in that it was a backup septic system, but this is not a septic problem.
They all have septic systems, but it's a drainage district issue, and that is what's been happening for years. It is not a septic system. They've already basically understand that to be the truth. All right, great. Let's move on here. We've got Dr. Carrie Mendoza with us, and we wanted her reaction to Congresswoman Mary Miller's conversation with the medical director in University of San Francisco.
Framework for gender and sex concepts in teaching advises against using the term pregnant women. Instead, it says to use pregnant people. Who are pregnant people compared to pregnant women? Just curious.
So that is a part of a curriculum to help our students who are facing a wide diversity of patients. Of course, the vast majority of pregnancies are in women, and I have absolutely no problem with using the word pregnant women. I use it myself.
Has a non-biological woman ever had a baby?
A transgender person can.
Has a non-biological woman ever had a baby?
I would reiterate, we take
ridiculous.
care.
Carrie Mendoza, it is ridiculous, isn't it?
Yes. Jeannie and Amy, thank you for having me on. I was watching that live and, just shocked that a dean of a medical school would not be able to answer a question. And it really says he's not competent to be running the medical school. It was really a Senator Blackburn and Ketanji Brown Jackson moment, right? Where she couldn't define, what a female was.
Yeah.
Shocking.
Yeah. Well, we have common sense. Apparently the elites at medical schools do not have common sense, but we're happy you as a doctor do. And really, we want to have you on, though, about this other new law that passed in the state of Illinois. It affects the Illinois Prescription Monitoring Program. And this is a database that enables healthcare providers to track prescriptions of certain substances in order to essentially curb drug abuse or abuse of the drugs. Transgender people are often prescribed drugs that are on this list. And basically, Illinois with HB 4834 says that they have banned certain drugs that would be on this prescription monitoring program. Can you tell us more about what's going on and how dangerous this is?
Yeah, sure. I wrote a policy a couple of years ago for a nonprofit that exactly described this issue in terms of concern about safety for large doses of testosterone and estrogens that were being prescribed. And some of that came out of my work with the WPATH files with Michael Schellenberger, because there were actually excerpts of conversations between clinicians from WPATH saying that some trans-identified people with liver cancer likely had gotten that because of high-dose testosterone exposure. So I wrote a policy to try and basically get some discipline in the system to help for safety reasons. And that got picked up by a trans activist, and then that got, brought to Illinois and put into a law. So it really is about safety to monitor overdosing or also cross-reactivity with other medications. And as a physician, we are responsible, obviously, for safety and for, making sure there aren't any adverse effects. And this all came out through the opioid crisis, really, when there was a push to obviously stop all the overprescribing. So that is something that as physicians we now have to attest to when we're prescribing opioids or benzodiazepines and a series of other medications, including testosterone, because that historically had been abused by bodybuilders and diverted. And so it really comes from a place of safety and caring for all patients, even trans-identified patients shouldn't be subject to getting early cancer, right?
Right. Well, what about Ambien? I mean, are things like that checked and tracked?
Yeah. Yep. There are things like that are tracked. A lot of what comes up is related to cross-reactivities, right? If you're prescribing, for example, Ambien, but someone's also taking Xanax, it pops up as an alert, as a cross-reactivity. And this also is related to what information pharmacies are seeing because they're responsible for safe prescribing. Again, this was a tool that was used to stop the over-prescribing at pharmacies. And so with your example, so we'll get calls sometimes, like a pharmacy will call the ER and say, hey, are you aware that, these two things are, cross-reacting because we don't feel comfortable, filling it. So, again, back to the trans issue, they're trying to take away a safety signal, and the activists look at it as, they could be tracked from some, other state, where I wrote the policy because I am just concerned that people are going to be getting severe adverse effects. And that's what I really care about.
Well, Dr. Mendoza, this wasn't the only drug that they said they eliminated from the Illinois prescription monitoring program. They are also eliminating any sort of tracking of the abortion pill, which is found to be unsafe. I mean, there was a study of 865,727 people who were prescribed the abortion drug, and they had an adverse event rate of 10.93%. That's 22 times as high as the summary figure reported for the drug label. And they took that off of the prescription monitoring only because they're woke here.
Well, again, Jeannie, I think what it is they're trying to remove any type of resistance to getting the medications that they want and trying to bypass, any physician or a pharmacist who would say, wait a second, you're on multiple doses that are too high or these things conflict. And so, again, the mission of healthcare is to, provide ethical, safe care. And if that's conflicting with their ideology, they're trying to remove and basically politicize medicine. But in terms of adverse effects, I mean, in the ER, again, these things aren't, really reported widely, but I've seen adverse effects from the mifepristone, people coming in the ER bleeding. So to remove that is just removing a safety signal and harming patients.
All right. She's Dr. Carrie Mendoza. We appreciate her work on this and especially calling out the Illinois government for their unsafe acts. Thank you.
Sean Fest returns on August 28th at the Westin Chicago Northwest in Itasca. Be a part of a live, on-location broadcast of The Sean Thompson Show, including a performance of the national anthem, followed by live music, food, drinks, and an opportunity to meet Sean Thompson. Registration is free. Go to 560theanswer.com/SeanFest. That's 560theanswer.com/SHAUN Fest. Sponsored in part by Virago and by State Farm Insurance Agent Anthony DeGrotto.
Fox News, Chris Foster. Day 2 of Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche's confirmation hearing has testimony from witnesses against his confirmation, like former Justice Department pardon attorney Liz Oyer.
Americans across the political spectrum rely on DOJ to keep us safe and free. Mr. Blanche has shown that he is willing to put all of that at risk to serve a political agenda.
And supporters like Jennifer Boss, her daughter Megan's body was allegedly hidden for 51 days in a garbage can by a man in the country illegally from Mexico.
We must have leaders that are willing to act before the next life is taken. Leaders that are willing to confront the failures instead of explaining them away. leaders like Todd Blanche.
At least 2 Republican senators on the Judiciary Committee say they're on the fence about advancing Blanche's confirmation. President Trump's scheduled to address the nation tonight with a speech expected to be about election security. America's listening to Fox News.
Now, your official weather forecast.
This afternoon, expect a mix of clouds and sun with the possibility of scattered thunderstorms, making it a hot day with the high of 91. Smoke from wildfires will cause very poor air quality and reduced visibility. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
The mainstream media isn't just biased. They're hiding stories from you deliberately. Restoration News is changing that. With elite researchers and fearless writers, Restoration News is the conservative media force fighting back in the information war for America's future. Download the Restoration News mobile app today or visit restoration-news.com. That's restoration-news.com. Real stories, real truth. It's time you knew what they don't want you to know.
What's with the ladder and bowling ball?
I'm testing the unsmushable Qualix Ultra Foam in Penny Mustard's Motion Sectional.
But our foam is already proven to stay supportive and comfortable for the life of the sofa.
Are you also dropping a St. Bernard on the sectional?
No, he's here to rescue me when I fall off the ladder.
The forever comfortable Motion Sectional, American made with a solid wood frame and hundreds of fabric and leather options, starting at just $62.95 at Penny Mustard.
7 Chicagoland showrooms.
PennyMustard.com.
Hi, it's Amy Jacobson, and last year I hired Level 10 Coatings to give my garage floor a total makeover, and I am loving it. It still looks great, shiny, and clean. Level 10 Coatings. Now, you've got to call these guys if your garage floor is cracked, stained, still covered in salt. Don't live like that. Get it done now so you can enjoy it this summer. Level 10 Coatings. They're fast, reliable, and highly professional. Guess what? I went to work. When I came home, it was done. A shiny new gleaming garage floor. A quick, easy fix, and it's guaranteed never to chip or peel. Why? It's not an epoxy job. It's better. Level 10 uses polyurea, which is much better than epoxy. So schedule your free quote today and mention me, Amy, to receive $500 off. Visit level10coatings.com. That's level, the number 10, coatings.com, or call 855-510-2628. Staff are local and ready to answer questions. Level 10 Coatings, your premier concrete coating experts.
And now it's time for the Cat's Corner.
This is John Catsimatidis. Every day, Americans are bombarded with fake news. People that are telling us they hate America. Paid political demonstrators that, guess what? ABC, CBS, and NBC gives them $1 zillion in advertising and puts it right on their network. I've complained to people that we are giving the wrong people the wrong message because those people only represent the Democratic Socialist Party. America, our country, has been built by people who want to work hard. The immigrants came over and wanted to educate their kids, worked 80 hours a week, educating their kids to become bankers, lawyers, investment bankers, accountants. Let's focus on common sense instead of division. We don't have to agree on everything, but we do have to respect each other and be able to sit down at the same table and work out our differences. That is today's Cat's Corner. I'm John Catsimatidis.
Time's up. The IRS isn't waiting. They're coming for your paycheck, your bank account, even your home. You ignored the letters. You thought it would go away. It won't. If you owe more than $10,000 in back taxes, you are already in the crosshairs of the IRS. Wage garnishments, bank levies, tax liens, they're not threats. They're next. But here's the truth. You still have a chance to fight back. This is Patrick Noon with PJN Tax Solutions Group. We are a local tax resolution firm located right here in St. Charles, Illinois. Don't call some 1-800-FIRM 10 states away. We're right here. Call us now at 630-415-5296. We don't do fluff. We get results. Call us now, 630-415-5296. That number again, 630-415-5296. Or just Google, I want the IRS off my ASS.
This hourly segment is brought to you by In the Know with Craig Bolanos, powered by VestGen Wealth Partners, Sunday morning at 10 on AM 560 The Answer.
AM 560 The Answer.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for joining me today. Hey, just a little bit of something that my son, the Navy aviator, told me.
Yes.
He found this post on X by a guy named Basha, and then it's Arabic writing, and it says, in a clear and public challenge, this is written yesterday, in a clear and public challenge to Oman's sovereignty, Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Aerospace Force published satellite footage that it said showed a drone striking the roof of the Crown Plaza Hotel in Duqm. And my son says to me, this is where I was the same time at this time last year. He was on the top floor of the Crown Plaza Hotel, staying there in Duqm as part of his duties attached to the Nimitz, providing supplies to the Nimitz as a C-2 pilot. And this is where they're going to strike. I'm telling you what, these Iranians do want to take out our forces. There's also been revealed that they also want to basically kidnap 100 of them, hold them for hostages and all of that. So
1980 all over again.
Yeah, well, I bring this up because, look, everybody understands that the Iranians are supported by the Chinese. And that's why I get really upset when I find out that American companies are partnering with Gotion in the state of Illinois, because they are a hazard. They are our number one adversary. We should not be giving them any tax credits, let alone having companies, cozy up to them, which is exactly what's happening. New announcement came out on May 13th. I know most of us totally missed it. I missed it until I was told by somebody in Michigan about it. But Richardson Electronics, located in LaFox, Illinois, that's just west of Geneva. Mm-hmm. Okay. They announced a new technology partnership with Gotion Inc., a global manufacturer of advanced battery technologies, to bring large-scale battery energy storage systems to the multi-billion-dollar U.S. market. It brings two Illinois-based companies, Richardson Electronics and Gotion's manufacturing facility in Manteno, to meet the rapidly growing demand for energy storage. Well, guess what? Richardson's getting $8.6 million in tax credits from you, the taxpayers here in the state of Illinois, to partner with Gotion to build grid-scale batteries and, get a load of this, batteries that will go into data centers. This is all upside down. I got to tell you, we should not be subsidizing them. And I'll say it, shame on Richardson Electronics for partnering up with the communist Chinese. And if you thought for a minute, and I want to make this clear, because Gotion wants to pretend that they're not a Chinese company. That's not true. Mm-hmm. Energy Storage News, writing about this same agreement, says China headquartered energy storage firm Gotion and U.S. electronics manufacturer Richardson Electronics have partnered to manufacture BESS in Illinois. Let me say that again. China headquartered energy storage firm Gotion. Everybody knows they're a Chinese company. Mm-hmm. Stop the pretending. Well, here to talk about this, because it's also a boondoggle, and we need to let people know again how these batteries are not the answer to our future energy needs. We have Steve Gorham on with us right now. You've heard him on here before. He is the executive director of the Climate Science Coalition of America and author of 4 books on energy, climate change, sustainable development, and public policy with over 100,000 copies in print. His latest book is Green Breakdown, The Coming Renewable Energy Failure. So, Steve, Richardson Electronics partnering with the Chinese Gotion to build grid-scale batteries. Why should Illinois citizens be concerned about this project?
Hi, Jeannie. Hi, Amy. Great to join you this morning. Yeah, this is a big problem. This is driven by the progressives in Illinois and Governor Pritzker, who think that we can build a world on wind and solar and batteries, and they're even willing to partner with the Chinese company to do that. That's all really has a very poor foundation, though. So there's a number of reasons why this thing shouldn't be going forward. One is the Illinois climate change laws, which are really kind of faulty in a lot of ways. The Chinese connection, as you mentioned, I think I fear the Chinese most in the world compared to the Russians. I think they're a much bigger problem, just personally. But then there's also cost about this. You just passed the Clean and Reliable Grid and Affordability Act last fall that wants to promote grid-scale batteries in Illinois. And those are going to be very costly. They're not going to be effective. And there are safety issues as well. So there's a lot of different reasons why citizens should be opposing this project.
Well, what about Governor Pritzker and progressive groups? They want Illinois to build these solar and grid batteries, but will these be cost effective?
Yeah, they really won't. And, first you have the Climate and Equitable Jobs Act passed in 2021, which calls for the closing of all coal and natural gas by 2045. If you look at data from the Energy Information Administration, you only get about 1% of your electricity in Illinois from solar. Very small, about 54% nuclear, 18% gas. But we have a bunch of folks in Springfield that think we can do everything with solar and batteries. The first thing is that they think they're going to do something with the climate with this. And what Illinois does on the climate is absolutely meaningless. Illinois produces about 0.4% of global emissions. Globally, we're out there. The world has over 6,000 coal-fired power plants. They're building another 1,000 power plants. Coal provides 34% of the world's electricity. So what we do on a global scale has really no effect. And then even on a national scale, there are several hundred gas-fired power plants being constructed right now to power artificial intelligence and all these data centers. Texas itself has plans or has under construction 140 gas-fired power plants. So putting solar in Illinois just isn't going to make any difference, except it is going to raise the cost of electricity to citizens.
So what happens, though? Like, what's the real dollar amount that these batteries are going to cost as compared to the energy that it's trying to store?
Yeah, so if you typically today, and this is data from the National Renewable Energy Laboratory, the cost of utility scale solar is about $1 million per megawatt. But as we know, solar really runs during the day when it's sunny, doesn't run at night, doesn't run on cloudy days. So the environmental groups have proposed backing these up with grid scale batteries, which is what they want to make in this proposed plant in Manteno. The problem with grid-scale batteries is they really only output energy for about 4 hours once you charge them. Now, the cost of the grid-scale batteries is about $850,000 per megawatt. To back up a utility-scale solar system for 4 hours costs almost as much as the utility system. And then if you want to replace coal and natural gas, you need a minimum of a day worth of backup. So you have to take 6 of these 4-hour batteries, which costs about $5 million just to back up $1 million in solar system. And then the batteries only last about 10 or 12 years. They have half the life of the solar. And so the grid batteries to back up solar cost 10 times as much as the solar itself. So the costs are astronomical. Yet we still have governments in California and Illinois and New York trying to put these things in. Just very expensive for residents. And by the way, one day isn't enough either. If you get 2 days of cloudiness, what do? You don't have any electricity. So they're very ineffective and very expensive.
What about fire safety issues with these grid scale batteries? I see there was a rising number of battery fires, California, one in Moss Landing, San Diego, Frederickstown. Should the residents of Manteno be concerned?
Yes, I would be concerned unless this facility is a long, long way away. As you mentioned, Moss Landing, California. I was just looking at this morning. They had a fire in January of 2025 that destroyed about between 50 and 80% of the batteries there. It burned for a number of days. It put heavy metal particles over all the area. They closed schools. They had people told them to stay in your house. Don't move. That facility was only 3 years old. It cost more than $500 million to build, and it shut down. They wasted taxpayer money and utility money by building it. Then they had another fire in San Diego, California, also last year, that burned for 11 days. People were told to evacuate their homes. They had to leave. And they put the fire out in 24 hours, but it kept restarting. So people were going to their homes and they were leaving their homes, and just a messy thing. And then even we have a recycling facility, for example, in Fredericktown, Missouri, that caught fire. This is battery recycling. These lithium batteries are very unstable. And, we got governments pushing this, but I would not advise the citizens of Manteno to agree. I think they should push back on this project, like the folks in Michigan did. As you know, Gotion was trying to put one in Michigan, and that was defeated, and they were forced to leave.
So the concerned citizens of Manteno are in a lawsuit against Gotion. They started this lawsuit in December of 2023. Gotion has been trying to bleed them out of money, thinking that there's no way that they can fund this. They've been able to, through bake sales and football squares and whatever else, raise some of the money themselves. They've had other donors come in to help somewhat. They still need money to finish that project. And I want to tell you, they are fighting back because they know that this is a nuisance and a hazard. And I want to bring this up to people so that they know. One of the pleadings is a nuisance claim. And it's that the public has a right to be protected from certain hazards. The Gotion plant presents a significant risk to health and safety of residents and is in close proximity to residential housing, the town's elementary school, and a preschool. The plant is a higher hazard for fire risk and release of highly toxic chemicals from lithium battery production. But get a load of this. This is a second nuisance claim that the judge is letting go forward. And this would have big ramifications across the country if she decides in favor of this nuisance claim. They are trying to establish for the first time that being a CCP-backed company is a hazard, is an actual nuisance to the people, and therefore should be disallowed operations. So that's a big deal because they're directly tying the CCP to being a nuisance to people. And so we're really excited about, getting this case going, but the Chinese are slow walking everything on discovery. And I think the judge is finally going to make them speed things up here.
Well, I agree. I think local people ought to have a very big say in battery plants and data centers and all the rest. And if it's going to be a problem with their community or take too much water or too much electricity or there's fire hazards, then they ought to be able to block it. Unfortunately, as you know, the history of the state of Illinois has been overriding local communities on particularly solar and wind, and I'm afraid they're going to want to try and do this again on batteries.
Well, another thing on that, too, it is interesting because part of the Richardson deal is not just grid-scale batteries, it's building casings for batteries that would go to data centers. And I'd like Governor Pritzker to square that up because he just said that he wants a pause on all data center tax credits. And on the backside, he's giving Richardson Electronics tax credits to help build batteries for data centers. I don't know. That doesn't seem to make sense to me at all. But they're just trying to hide the ball from people and expecting us not to know what's going on.
Yeah, it's a tough kind of thing. And again, all this is based on the idea that we can stop climate change if we pass these laws, and if we put in wind and solar and batteries. That is just foolish. And by the way, we just had Prime Minister Mark Carney retreated from this. He was a big envoy at the United Nations, and he has said he's rolling back the Trudeau climate policies in Canada. So it's not only President Trump.
All right. Well, Steve Gorham, I want to thank you so much for coming on our program. Where can listeners get your books?
Yeah, they can go to my website, Steve Gorham, GOREHAM.com. And if they order books, I'll send them signed copies. Green Breakdown, The Coming Renewable Energy Failure is my latest. They're also available on Amazon and ebooks as well.
All right. Thank you so much for enlightening us this morning. We really appreciate your commentary.
At your service always.
All right. We'll be right back with your phone calls.
And some breaking news from the Edgar County Watchdog Group, 312-642-5600. You're listening to The Real Story on AM 560, The Answer.
Subscribe to the Real Story podcast on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or at 560theanswer.com.
Are you prepared for the Illinois estate tax? If your estate is worth over $4 million, your heirs could face a tax bill of up to 16% when you pass. Financial advisor Scott Tucker and the team at Scott Tucker Solutions can show you ways to potentially reduce or even eliminate that burden. One strategy is to start gifting assets during your lifetime to lower the taxable value of your estate. Another option is setting up irrevocable trusts, which can shield wealth from estate taxes. Charitable donations and life insurance policies can also be smart tools to offset tax liabilities. Call Scott Tucker and the Scott Tucker Solutions team now, 847-474-3888, or go to 560retirement.com. That's 847-474-3888, or go to 560retirement.com. Investment advisory services made available through AE Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Firm may not give tax advice.
Hello?
Sir, this is Officer Peterson. There's been a string of break-ins in the area, and your office, it was hit.
Hit? What do you mean? We were robbed?
Looks like the back door lock was easily pried open, and they moved through the building like they knew exactly what to take. We see wires everywhere. No computers.
What? No computers? I just upgraded everything.
Looks like they moved fast. We only found out because a neighboring business had their alarm go off. Do you have any security cameras?
No, nothing.
Don't wait until it's too late. Goldilocks protects Chicagoland businesses with custom security solutions. From reinforced commercial doors with keyless entry to cameras and 24/7 monitoring that alerts authorities immediately. Schedule a free on-site assessment at GoldilocksInc.com. Again, that's GoldilocksInc.com. Plus, AM 560 listeners get their first 3 months of monitoring free with a new install. Call 708-889-5600. That's 708-889-5600. Goldilocks, Chicago's premier locksmith doors and security systems company since 1981.
AM 560, The Answer.
Okay.
Well, we've got an exclusive. We have an update how hard work can pay off, especially if you're an Edgar County watchdog.
All right, let's go to John. John Kraft, thanks for joining us. What's the breaking news?
Thanks for having us. The village of Belmont down there in Wabash County. We wrote about the sex offender that was hired to work in the park for the village. He was fired. The mayor quit. They appointed a mayor pro tem at their last meeting a couple of days ago. And then all the trustees, the new mayor pro tem, and the clerk resigned.
So they have no city leadership whatsoever.
No city leadership, and they're under a boil order for their water.
Oh, here we go. Kansas 2.0, Flint, Michigan 2.0. That's so when did this go down?
Yesterday. We believe a court has to appoint enough trustees to make a quorum so they can finish appointing the remainder.
So how did this come about? What precipitated the complete collapse of their leadership and the resignation of all of them at once?
The public showing up at the meeting and voicing their opinions and demanding their resignations. And they got their resignations.
Well, what about the person who they hired who is a registered sex offender? What happened to that person?
Oh, he's fired. He's not working there.
Okay.
Right after we published the article, he was fired, as a matter of fact.
Good. I mean, he shouldn't be around children. That's part of the deal.
I mean, so you essentially, in this one fell swoop, you took out how many? 7 more people add to your list for the Edgar County watchdog list of getting bad elected officials?
That is true, but I placed the congratulations on the residents of the village for showing up in person and voicing their opinion.
So we want to have John come on real quick and just give you that success story, because when citizens get involved and raise their voices and are relentless about doing so and don't back away, things can improve in your community.
It's not the first time it's happened either.
All
so
right.
Hopefully it won't be the last.
All right. Thanks a lot, John. Appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to Mike in Yorkville. He's been waiting for a while. Mike, welcome to the program.
Yes, thank you for taking my call. You know, great program today, lots to unpackage. And especially the last gentleman you had that was a guest, he's talking about all the issues with batteries. I know you guys are talking about Mendota. Does anybody remember the issue in Morris, Illinois? We had an illegal battery company that was there that was trying to recycle, and the whole issue burnt up and was there going on for months, and they couldn't put it out. And that's kind of the same issue a lot of people are looking at. And for that guest, I hope he can keep on educating a lot of people, because they have to realize the issues with everything he said, because it's nothing but a waste of money in many ways.
Well, Steve's a University of Illinois graduate. He's got a master's as well, and he lives in the suburbs of Chicago. So he's a local guy, and he's an expert who tracks this stuff around the world. You saw his what he's referred to before. Yes, so he's a great resource for us, and we appreciate him.
Absolutely. My main reason why I called, because I was listening to earlier talking about the trans activists making legislation or even possibly putting together laws that secured their rights to their access to drugs. I'm just curious, why are they able to have it when I wasn't able to have that during COVID?
Different rules for different groups of people. That's what I can tell you on that one. Thank you so much for the phone call. Yes. And we should mention that an alert, Elk Grove Park District has just closed down their outdoor facility, Jeannie, due to a safety hazard because of the smoke from the wildfires up in Canada and Minnesota.
It is hazy over here.
Oh, yeah. Does it smell bad?
I haven't noticed that. But.
Okay. So, yeah, that includes Pirate Cove, Rainbow Falls, all outdoor facilities due to poor air quality. So just wanted people to know.
Okay. How about Tom in Cedar Lake, Indiana? Welcome to the program.
Yeah, I was, so when Steve Gorman was talking, I had some questions. Specifically, how does cap and trade and paying for carbon credits affect products we buy, specifically utilities, where they may have a coal or gas, natural gas fired generation? Are they required to buy carbon credits to offset that? The carbon credit market is the making money on that is kind of the root of all this. Batteries, the whole bit. And also, like when you have a solar installation in China, if they're being generated carbon credits, then would they sell their carbon credits from China to a U.S. utility?
Yeah, no, I don't think so. This is a great topic, and we're going to bring it up. I do know some about it, but Steve knows much more. We'll certainly tee this up for a conversation later on. Tom, thanks so much for listening. We appreciate you.
And a program note, AM 560 will be carrying President Trump's speech to the nation tonight at 8 o'clock. Have a wonderful day. God bless you. God bless the state, and God bless America.